Hello, welcome to this week's Midweek Connection. I'm Todd Jordan. I serve as senior pastor here at Strawbridge United Methodist Church. I'm delighted that you've joined me this week. Want to look at the scripture that our lay leader Kevin Larson preached from last Sunday. It's taken from Luke chapter 5, the first few verses. Jesus is calling his disciples, and he's calling Peter and James and John, and apparently they have been working all night. So they're now at the end of their work, and I would assume it's fairly early in the morning. They're repairing their nets. They've gotten uh, nothing at all, and I'm sure they're feeling, quite down. This is how they make their living. And Jesus shows up and he is teaching the crowds from Simon Peter's boat. And when he's done teaching, he turns to Simon and he says, go out a little ways and drop your nets and see what happens. Or for a catch, he says. And Simon's like, Master, we've been working at this all night. These are professionals. We haven't caught anything, but they go ahead and do it. And of course, they pull in so many fish that they need to bring in another boat, and the boats start to sink in the water a little bit. So it's an incredible load and would have been a cause for a great deal of celebration. So, Kevin reflected on this powerfully, and during his sermon, there were a few questions that his sermon brought to mind. Um, and the first thing is that what Jesus asks of Simon there at the beginning to drop the nets is something that Simon Peter would have been very comfortable with. Very that was an easy task to go continue fishing to do what he does every day. Sometimes God calls us to do God's work, and it's well within our comfort zone. It's within our wheelhouse. It's something that we're more than happy to do, and we're ready to do it. I wonder, are we just as ready when Jesus asks us to be about something that we're not so comfortable with, that's not so easy, that is very much outside of our comfort zone? The disciples will be pushed with that respect in their ministry following Jesus and then after Jesus' ascension. And I wonder, are we just as ready for the same? The second point that I noticed was that Simon refers to Jesus as master. Um, I think to some degree, Jesus, as a prophet and a miracle worker, his reputation has gone before him. But Jesus has an authority, so much so that even though Jesus is not necessarily a fishing expert, Simon Peter and the others still listen to him. And I think at some level, you and I have to concede that God knows more than we do. Too often we try to rely on our own wisdom, our own abilities, our own knowledge. And we forget that we have a God who loves us and a God who wants to steer us and shape us. And every once in a while, you and I need to be willing to listen to that voice and give it authority over what we know or what we think we know. And then finally, I know when they brought in the catch, they had to have been so excited because, he says we've been working all night and haven't caught anything. So now, with a big catch, they can afford not only to feed their family, but they can sell it, of course, and get money to buy supplies and that sort of thing. God has provided abundantly for them. God has come through for them in a huge way. And I know they celebrate the gift, but it's also important to note that they celebrate the giver. When God comes through for you, when God provides for you in abundance, I want you to celebrate that and appreciate that and be grateful for how God provides for you. But I never want us to forget that ultimately, it's not just the gifts, the stuff that we get that we're grateful for. We are grateful to the giver. So be ready to listen, be ready to obey, and be ready to give thanks to our God. May God bless you, and I'll see you Sunday.